I'm a great recovery addict, and my name is Raymond. And I'm excited about being here. I'm grateful to be here. A lot of people are connected with many people here that I love dearly. And I don't want to give, if I mention names, somebody's going to be hurt, you know what I mean? Because I'm going to forget somebody. But, I'm very grateful. Somebody picked me up at the airport. They take care of me, making sure I got tea and milk and, biscuits. And, I'm very grateful. I want to get into the topic. It's basic text, basics. A couple things I want to say that when I got clean, they told me this. Listen, they said, I want you to open the basic text to the first page, right? This is Frankie's, and the first page is blank. And they said, this is what you know about recovery. You know what I'm saying? Nothing. You know a lot about disease, you know a lot about insecurities, you know a lot about fear, you know a lot about control, you know a lot about inferiority complex and egomaniac and low. You know a lot about that stuff. But you know nothing about recovery. And they began to tell me that this book, I like to quote the literature, from the literature. Some people, it's funny because the disease don't like literature. The disease, so the disease, I'll give you an example. In this basic text, there's information that can treat the illness that's been ravaging the individual for decades. In this basic text, there's information that can free you from resentments that have been ravaging you spiritually for 30 years. In this basic text, there's information where you can get in touch with yourself finally, take off the mask, separate fantasy from reality, and find out who you really are, embrace yourself, and love yourself. And you know what the disease says? Don't you touch that book. Don't touch that book. Don't read that. Don't be an NA nerd. NA basic text quoting, literature toting, sponsorshiping, traditional Bible. The disease is anti-literature, it's anti-sponsorship, it's anti-hunger, and that's part of the basics. It's important. The first step introduces us to the problem. I have a disease. It's called addiction. It's physical, mental, spiritual, and affects every area of my life. That's important. If you know who your enemy is, how are you going to fight? How are you going to defend yourself? And so the first step in the basic text introduced me to the problem. I have a disease. I didn't know what my problem was for many, many years. I was, for lack of a better word, I was falsely diagnosed. I was mild diagnosed. I thought I had a moral problem. I thought I had a demonic problem. I thought I had a religious problem. I thought I was bad. I was evil. I got a disease, and that's part of the basics, and it's a very important part of the basics, because not only do I have a disease, I have an incurable disease. I got a disease that when I get 90 days, I still got a disease. When I get a wife, I still got a disease. If I go to university, you guys go to university here, if I go to university and I graduate, I still got a disease. If I start a business and I make a lot of money and I buy a big house and I travel, I still got it. This disease is the only disease that tells you you don't got a disease. You know what I'm saying? So part of the basics for me is understanding that this book was written primarily about the nature, what it says, of recovery. That many books have been written about it. This book with the nature of recovery. And so I got the book, and like I just said, I didn't want to be a nerd, so I'm not going to walk around. In America, in New York City, you got the guys walking around with their bags of literature, and they open the book up, and I'm like, look at this call, the disease don't like that, look at this sucker, you know what I mean? Oh, you read the book, look at you read the book, you can do step up with your sponsor, oh, that's so cute, you know what I mean? The disease is an expert at making good things that I need appear to be bad. And bad things that are going to hurt me looks good. You know what I mean? And so part of the basics, and it's important because we lose a lot of members because this disease says, want you to be normal. Don't you want to be normal? Don't you want to just have wine with your Costa? You know what I mean? Don't you want to, in America, they hit a home run. You want this Buds for you? You know what I mean? And so the disease always tries to make the individual, me, you, think that we don't have a disease no more. And so that's part of the basic. I had to accept. He just showed me around in his basic. I had to accept that my cousin don't got this. My cousin can smoke marijuana and he don't go to jail. You know what I mean? I got a friend who they drink a couple of beers and they don't go to jail. I got a couple of friends, they take medication, however they take it, and then me, I go to jail. You know what I'm saying? And I had to accept that one of the basic things about this program is that I am an addict. That I have an incurable progressive illness that's going to, is going to lead me to the same places, jails, institutions, and death, and it don't got to be in that order. So that's part of the basics. I had to accept that I have a disease, I'm an addict, that I'm going to be a coffee drinking, tea drinking, 90-minute, whatever, 90-minute, then I'm going to make meetings. That's part of the basic, that I'm going to be a meeting maker. That I had to stop letting disease say, I'm an addict, you're an addict. No, I'm a recovering addict, which makes a world of a difference. I'm not a using addict, I'm not a suffering addict, I'm not a hopeless addict. I am a recovering addict, and I have the tools necessary for recovery. I have a book that introduced me to the nature of recovery. Very important. So I had to accept, part of the basics for me is I had to accept the first step. I have a disease. I got this thing, and I need to treat it. And how I treat it, initially it's meetings, because meetings is not enough. All right? Meetings. It says in the 12th step that having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these meetings, we have a spiritual awakening. Right? That's what it says? No. It says having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps. Right? And so the meetings introduce me to people who are working steps. I'm one of these guys that I don't like to just say, this is it, you just need this and that's it. No, you need the fellowship as well. In fact, this book is shared experience of the fellowship of Narcotics Anonymous. And so you can take this book home and by yourself, Raymond, and smoke crack and do, whatever it is that you do. I need the fellowship, I need the leadership to come alive through your guys. I need people to exemplify, to model what it is to practice these principles. I need to see it so that I can be it. You know what I'm trying to say? So, all right. So the basic text in the beginning, because I've been studying this book for over 20 years. Line by line, expository, exegete, all that good stuff, all right? And so even in the beginning from the symbol, right? If you look at the symbol, and it's different in here. I got the basics on my phone. All right, I got the literature on the phone. It's even in the symbol, in the beginning it says this. Simplicity is the key to our symbol. It imitates the simplicity of our fellowship. That's pretty cool, right? Check out the next line. All sorts of occult and esoteric connotations can be found in the simple outlines. Not so simple. What is occult? What is esoteric? Right? And I don't want to get too deep into that, but I'll give you some of the things. Occult means not revealed. It's secret. Occult means not easily apprehended or understood. Mysterious. Esoteric means taught or understood by members of a special group. Oh, that should frustrate somebody, right? Limited to a small number of people. Designed or understood by specially initiated alone. Right? Check out this is in the basic text. I don't know if you know that, but aren't you glad you came? All right, so it says connotations. All right, the associated or secondary meaning of a word or expression in addition to its explicit or primary meaning. Something suggested or implied by a word rather than being explicitly named or described. I can go on and on. There's some stuff in NA, right? Let me tell you what that means in a simple word. There's some stuff in NA that some people will never understand or get. I don't care how many meetings they make. I don't care who the response is. If they don't do the work, they'll never see what's in the process. You understand what I'm saying too? And the disease will have. Listen. Part of the big problem with NA all over the world is that we have a lot of people coming to meetings, and not enough people coming to the program. You know what I'm saying to you? Coming to meetings is wonderful. Like Jimmy talked about abstinence. Without abstinence is the foundation to everything. Without abstinence, you can do the steps, you can do this, you can do that, but there won't be no spiritual transformation. The drugs block the spirit from doing the surgery. You understand? So it's very important. Meetings is great. Meeting makers make it. Meetings is wonderful. Meetings is great. More meetings, more choices. Less meetings, less choices. No meetings, no choice. Right? And that's great. But we need to get into the program. The basic text, you know, when I was clean 3 years, I guess, 2.5 years or 3 years, when I realized that, yo, you're going to kill yourself clean. That you're making meetings, you're making coffee, you're quoting the basic text, but you haven't undergone a spiritual transformation. You haven't been in the process of recovery deep enough, and you're still thinking about killing yourself. You still got low self-esteem. You're still thinking that your girl is thinking that she likes the guy at Starbucks because, you know, you're going crazy. You know what I mean? You're still less than. You're still comparing yourself to other people. You're still judging your inside by somebody else's outside, and on and on and on. This disease is not playing games. Check it out what the third tradition says in the basic text. It says that with a desire, that miracles can happen in the addict's lives. But without a desire, the addict is doomed. And again, the word doomed is not a pretty picture. And so, the basic text. So I got myself a sponsor, right? Because in order to do steps, there's only one way, and it says you can do the steps wrong. Anybody know how that way is? Alone. There's only one way to do steps wrong. And it's alone. So I need a guide. I need someone who's been on this journey, who's living it to the best of his ability, to guide me, and somebody can't take me someplace they haven't been. So I need somebody who's, you know, to experience some stuff. So I got myself a sponsor. That's basics. I got a sponsor today that I would have never imagined he'd be my sponsor. Right? You know, differences of opinion, internal controversies, what the literature talks about. I looked at him and his sponsees, and I want to smack them all. You know what I mean? That's how I felt. I want to put them in a line and just one by one smack them all. You know what I mean? I'm being honest, and I'm on video. I love your sponsor. I'm just, you know, I'm sharing out. Right? So, but you know, they say back in the days, where I come from, be very careful how you treat the newcomer. Because you never know who's going to be your next sponsor. Right? So now he got more years than he been on. But I never imagined that this guy would be my sponsor. Because we were just on two different sides of a lot of issues in Narcotics Anonymous. Right? So he's my sponsor. So I got a sponsor. Even today, I got a sponsor. I call my sponsor. It's part of the basic. This disease will like it if a guy, because let me say my experience. I'm talking fast, I only got 25 minutes, 30 minutes. So check it out. All right? If you know, I think you got this. All right. My first sponsor died. And I had an extraordinary relationship. I mean, it's maybe everybody feels like this, but I feel like everybody in NA has been like shorted. You know what I mean? Because I had the incredible best relationship with my sponsor that you can ever have with any man. That he saved my life, he told me how to live, and he invested in me, he spoke life into me. He tapped into potential that was hidden inside of me, and he knew how to pull it out of me, and he knew how to encourage me, he knew how to provoke me. Like this man, God used him in extraordinary ways in my life. And so he dies, and now I'm working the program, I'm speaking all over the world, I'm spiritual Ray, I'm doing a religion study every Thursday. I got people coming from all over. I'm living the dream, but I don't have a sponsor. And I know what my sponsor would say. I can still hear his voice. I'm justifying and rationalizing. And then I look at my NA, and now I have a real God. It's evident. In New York, people say, oh yeah, and they're doing this, no concrete evidence, right? Don't say something about concrete evidence. I have concrete evidence. I have a God. I'm chasing my God. I'm pursuing my God. All this stuff. And the disease will use that against you. When you become spiritually arrogant and spiritually self-righteous, it's ugly. And you suffer. So I looked around and I said, who's going to sponsor me? I said, nobody here can sponsor me. I'm a big shot. I know the leadership better than anyone else. And I began to compare. And so I know what it is to be in NA for several years without a sponsor. Sponsoring men all over the world without a sponsor. And what happens is, it's hard to explain, but the disease begins an erosion. I don't know, in New York we got piers. Piers on the water. And so you don't know, one day the pier's there, and next day the pier's gone. And people wonder, where did the pier go? Well, what happened? Beneath the waterline, it was rotting. An erosion was taking place. And nobody could see it because the pier looked good from where. And then one day to the next, the pig goes in the water. And I didn't know I was experiencing this erosion on the inside. The spiritual arrogance, the spiritual grandiosity, and not being sponsored. Here's my experience. When I'm not being sponsored in NA, the disease is sponsoring me. Yeah. And it can look good, it can sound sexy, you can buy the CD, and it's a great CD, but on the inside, there's erosion taking place. And so I finally got myself a sponsor, and so I say that to say, if you're here without having a sponsor, I want to lovingly encourage you, don't let the disease win. I don't get $5 if you get a sponsor or not. I get on a plane in 2 weeks, I might never see you again. Don't let the disease play you for a sucker and you got the key in your pocket. Don't do it to yourself. The disease says you don't need a sponsor. The disease says you can't trust. Some things happen. And so part of the basics is sponsorship. Part of the basics is having someone who can look at you and say, what's going on with you? Are you okay? You don't look right. Let's take a walk. Let's have some tea. It's a big deal. And so home group is another part of the basic. Jimmy said, make sure you mention 90-90. I don't even write 90 meetings in 90 days. Is there anyone in the literature? I don't know if it's in the literature anywhere, but I can't remember right now. But in New York, we say, make a meeting a day for 90 days, make a meeting a day for 90. That's to build a foundation. That's to get to know people. I remember the first time I walked into a meeting, and this old man said, hey, Raymond, how you doing? I said, he knows my name. I don't think nobody called me Raymond for years, because I have a street name. You know what I mean? I don't think nobody, had called me Raymond for years. And I was like, man, this guy. And I can't tell you that it warmed my heart. I can't tell you that, man, it did something to me. This guy, he knew my name. I don't know how to explain it to you. But that happened because I kept making that meeting. I kept coming to that meeting. And I remember another guy said, you got 46 days here, don't you? I was like, I can't believe it. How do you know? How do you? And then the disease said, this sucker's watching me too close. Because the disease, the disease. But by making meetings 90 and 90, if you knew, and there's some old timers. I just met, I work in a religious organization, all right? I marry people, I teach theology, I do funerals, all this, I work with them. And so this person came to me for spiritual counsel. And he said, listen, I got X amount of years clean, double decade, and I'm thinking about killing myself, I'm thinking about, using, and I'm thinking about, I'm tired. And they came to me, and I could see, I could discern, intuition does that this person was looking for some major religious nugget. You know what I mean? Like, they wanted something like from the 6th dimension of the matrix of the 11th step, something deep in it. And I said, I think I know what you need, but you're not going to like it when I tell you. I suggest that you make 90 meetings for 90 days. and she looked at me like, she said, Ray, I got 20 something. Yes, I know. I said, and you're not going to have no days real soon if you don't make 90 and 90. I told her. And so sometimes we're looking for this deep answer. And listen, there's nothing, making meetings. There's something that happens in the atmosphere of a meeting that cannot happen when you're home reading the literature or listening to a CD. The spirit of this program is moving in the meetings where you be bugging out. I'll be thinking that somebody must have told the speaker of my business before I came. How did he know to talk about that? You understand what I'm saying to you? But that's by making meetings. And so that's part of the basics. Another thing that I think is very important is having a commitment. Just having. I used to be mean and tell you, well, if you don't have a commitment, you're a spiritual shoplifter, and shoplifters will be persecuted. That's not nice. That's not nice. Right? I didn't mean to hurt nobody's feelings. I was just trying to encourage people. The literature says in this book that there's a spiritual richness that comes to those who are deeply involved in service. A spiritual richness. And so get a commitment, make the tea, make the coffee. If I don't got a commitment, I make believe I got a commitment. Sometimes, in New York, we say, let's say you're going to be treasurer or this, 5 people want it. And then you just have to give your NA resume, you know, I've done this, I've done that, I got a sponsor, was a sponsor, you know, and all this crazy stuff, and then everybody gives their resume, and then you got to go outside the meeting and they vote you in. All right, and so, and what happens is, they want to give the newer guys an opportunity to serve, because Raymond, you've been doing this for like 10, 20, because let this guy, and you'd be shocked, you'd be thinking, oh, Jimmy's going to get Frankie's going to get the position, and then this guy gets the position, oh, and Frankie's like, oh, it's time for a newcomer, you know, the spirit of rotation, you know what I mean? Which is, so, but when that happens to me, and I don't get the position, I still come early and help set up. I'll get cookies, I'll go to Peter Pan Donuts and get this $30 donuts, and I'll let people know. When I come to meetings, I make a difference. Check out those donuts. You're not going to vote me in. You know? So my point is, there's things in here. Now let me say this. I went to school. I got ordained, which is not popular. NA is not a religious program. But if somebody says they got masters or bachelors, that's wonderful. Somebody comes to a lawyer, it was a big deal for me, right, to get ordained in my path that I was in. It's not easy to get. I had to work hard. I had to live hard. You know. So I never left NA. There's something about the basics, knowing that it doesn't matter if you find God or God finds you or whatever, you get enlightened or whatever. Don't leave NA. There's a warning in the basic text that some of it says, some will stick around broken long enough just to find salvation and want me to just call or another. All right? And then the warning. So if that happens to you, and it might not happen to you, it's a warning to those who it happens to. All right? So Raymond found salvation and want me to just conquer another. And the basic said, do not float out the doors of Narcotics Anonymous on a religious zeal, forgetting that you have a disease called addiction and you must treat it. It's important, because the disease will use God against you. We talked about the disease will use stuff to make you think that you don't need this no more. Jimmy said this once, and I heard it before. The disease will tell you, you have a business meeting, right? And you argue about this thing, and you fight, and you lose, and now I'm mad at Daniel. He didn't vote with me. Why didn't he vote with me? He's my mate. We have tea all the time. You know, he comes to why didn't he vote with me? So I'm mad at Daniel. He didn't vote with me. I'm mad at Daniel. What does he want? Daniel, he needs to get fined. God, that guy, he didn't vote with me. You know what I mean? And so I go from being mad at Daniel to being mad at the group. So now I'm not now that group, and then it's those people, and then it's that fellowship. And the disease wants to work me out of Narcotics Anonymous because they can beat me up when I'm alone outside. Right. So don't let nothing, I made a decision, nothing is going to run me out of NA. Listen, you know this thing that we're doing here? You guys pay £3 to come. Why do you pay £3? Because they got to pay £100, for this, and they got £200 left. But you know what they say? Oh, the Americans are making money on the NA message. Yeah, we're getting rich with your £3. It doesn't make sense, right? But I can't let that stop me from coming to England and I have deep-rooted relationships here. I have covenant relationships. I can't let that people don't like the American. Somebody said, okay. So it's just a not thing, right? I can't let that stop me from doing. I didn't call myself and say, would you come to England? You know what I mean? I didn't use one phone. No, somebody called me and said, can you come to England? I said, I'll pray about it. Let me see. I didn't want to come to England. You don't know the whole story. Because I knew that it was very expensive. I don't like anything over 4 hours. I got ADHD, HDA, HBO, all that good stuff. You know what I'm saying? And so I didn't want to fly for 6 or 7 hours. I didn't want to give $2,000 and get 1,000 pounds. That doesn't sound sexy to me. You know what I mean? And so awful. But I knew, I prayed, and I knew that this was God orchestrated intervention type of, I spoke all over the place. I don't know if it was here when I spoke at the London Convention, but something special happened that day. It was not no speaker. It was the spirit of NA, the love of the program, the second tradition at work. It was powerful. And since then, I've been to a lot of places I don't go back to. You know what I mean? I've been to London many times, England many. It's okay. So the basic text. There's a saying where I come from. If you don't leave the basics, you never have to go back to them. Now here's the thing that's important to understand. If you don't got a sponsor, and you don't got a home group, and you don't got a commitment, and you're not treating your disease, then if you're lucky, you'll get a rude awakening, so you can have a spiritual awakening, and come back to the basics, or you could die. And we don't talk about that enough. The basics are very important into preventing addicts from dying. And listen, you can die without picking up a drug. I just talked to a guy who's doing life in his friend, his sponsor is doing life in prison, and he had 17 years clean when he went to prison. So life in prison. All right. I got another friend who threw himself in front of a train, clean, and in New York, and killed himself clean. I got another friend who didn't go do the basics, ended up, NA's a call, and there's people over there, and he ended up using and threw himself in front of a train himself, another guy. And on and on and on. The basics are very important. And the disease, listen, the disease has done it to me, and I'm sure it'll try to do it to you. The disease wants to make people think that it's very spiritual. Oh, you're going over here, you're doing this spiritual thing, you're doing this, you're going to university, you're doing this, and it's not real to think that you're growing spiritually if you have abandoned the basics. Yeah. It's counterfeit, it's fake, it's a facade. And so what happens is the disease builds people up, like make them think, oh, you're better than that, you don't need that, you don't need that, and then it takes you real high and it drops you real hard. And it's crazy how the disease has done that to so many people. So, all right, before my time is up, another basic thing that's in here is we talked about sponsorship, but about sponsorship, right? And I'm going to say this nicely, right? And why some people don't get access to be sponsored. Right? Because sponsorship is such a fruitful relationship, such a rewarding relationship. Why some people don't get access to be sponsored. And we talked about, are you visible and available? Are you sharing recovery? Are you sharing recovery? We all got problems. I got a lot of problems. My son was in court today. Right? I'm not going to waste, valuable time, sharing. We all got problems. I'm in the solution. I'm praying for him. I'm loving him. And, too many people don't even open the door to sponsorship because they're afraid of the responsibility. Not knowing when you sponsor someone, you get so much more than you give. Yes. I got a sponsor who just lost. Last year or 2 years ago, his son died of an overdose in his house. 19-year-old, 18-something. And this guy, if this was my book, I would throw it. It's not my book. This guy showed me more recovery than this book ever did in the way he responded. Because he lived it. He cried, he hurt, he made meetings, he showed up to his commitment. He cried, making his commitment. He hurt, but he stood, and he lived this. A year later, 2 years later, his baby grandson dies. Same sponsee, baby grandson dies. And I think I'm spiritual. Man, I ain't got nothing on this guy. This guy is showing up, he's crying, his heart is broken. He don't understand why a higher power would allow his son to die of overdose in his house and his grandson to die. He don't understand what good is this? I'm making meetings, I'm doing service, he has sponsor, he got sponsees, he's helping people, and how does this happen? And the literature talks about that. Right? I'm going to go to the working guide in a minute. The working guide in the third step says this. We've been clean for years. We find ourselves enjoying life. We become optimistic about life. Things are wonderful. Things are great. You got a higher power. You love your higher power. Your higher power loves you. There's a wonderful paragraph. And the next line, then something happens. Life happens. Somebody dies. You get fired. Your girlfriend, your wife, husband changes her mind. They don't want to be with you no more. Her therapist, my therapist said I need to do 90 minutes away from you. Where's your therapist? Where's your therapist at? And so, but my point is something happens. And it says that we feel like we've been kicked in the stomach. We don't know what to do. And it's very powerful. Because again, I'm watching my sponsees live this. I can tell you story after story after story. If you're not sponsoring somebody, let me suggest that you take an inventory. I think that everyone is sponsorship material who's done the work. I think that, I'm good for some people and I'm terrible for some people. There's people who need more attention than I can give them. And I'd be hurting them and being a hindrance to their recovery by taking them on as a sponsee. And there's other people that we great together. You know what I mean? We just flow. And there's some people that I know that my personality is going to affect them in a negative way. I'm too whatever. And so my point is, if you don't got to take inventory, make some available to some newcomers. Take some newcomers for some tea. I'm not saying go out there and try to get sponsors. I'm saying make some available, love on some newcomers. There's such a reward, and that's part of the basics in this process. And we don't talk about, I don't know if we talk about here, but we don't talk about people who don't have sponsors. It's a hard topic. It's, you know, Frankie might have a bunch of sponsors. Jimmy, Raymond R. has sponsors. What's wrong with me? Not that there's something wrong with me. I just need to take inventory and make myself more available. Maybe I'm too busy. And let me tell you something that I believe for everybody, you know, and this is a principle. If you're too busy for NA, then you're just too busy. You need to do something about your schedule. And we learned this the hard way. Anything we put before our recovery, we will lose it. We will lose it. And so I got the 5-minute sign. I want to say this, and I'm going to get out of the way. Trust or faith is a very important part of this process. In order to be a member of NA, you don't have to believe in anything. And after you're here for a while, you don't have to believe in anything. And all, you know, whatever, I'm telling you that the second step in the basis that many of us, we won't admit to the need for faith and sanity. Right? This whole program is about surrendering on different levels. Every step requires more surrender. Every step will give you more freedom if you're willing to surrender. Every step will tear down walls. Every step will give you insight. Every step that you work, every step that I work, it's been extraordinary for me, right? But the disease goes against that. Uh-oh. All right. So that's my time. That's my timekeeper. All right. So let me say this, right? Spirituality, a higher power, a power vision is very, very important in Narcotics Anonymous. The disease don't want. Now, Jimmy alluded to it, and check out how crazy it is in the basic sense what it says. And there's people that will tell you different. And here's where I say, I don't care what you think. I don't care what you believe. I believe in the literature. And if your way worked, you wouldn't be here. So let's stick to the literature. It says in the second step, if we gloss over the second step with a minimum of concern, we'll only find out that the rest of the steps will not work for us. It doesn't say you can't write them. You can't go over them with a sponsor. You can't look up all the words in the dictionary. You can share them at the London Convention. It says that if you go over steps with a minimum of concern and you do not come to believe in the politics of the rest of the steps will not work for you. And that's not a good thing. Because there's a lot of people that wonder. You ever heard somebody say, I was working the steps and I still use? You ever heard that? No, listen. You can work the steps all you want. It's not till you live them that you become relapse-proof. People don't like that. Relapse-proof. It says we've never seen anyone who lived the NA program relapse. You can work steps and relapse. But if you live it, you can't relapse. You see what I'm saying to you? And so before I go, I'm going to tell you a nice story. And I'm going to get out your way. Alright? I don't know which story I'm going to tell you. I got to tell you something first. I'll tell you a third step first. I ended on spirituality. There's this guy, right? There's this guy, and he's from Brooklyn, and he thinks he's a G, you know what I mean? And he got clean young, 18 years old, walking around with RHP tag, right? And this guy says, I want to prove to the world that I'm a self-sufficient, I'm a G, I'm an alpha male, I'm the man. I want to prove to the world. I want everybody to see that I'm about this life, right? So he says, I'm going to climb this Mount Everest. I'm going to climb this mountain, and I'm going to do it by myself. I don't need no sponsor. I don't need no support group. I don't need no home group. I don't need no. I'm going to show and prove that I don't need nobody. And so he says, so he sets out and he calls all the news reports. Says, I want to show everybody that I'm going to climb this mountain by myself. I don't need no safety net. I don't need no nothing. I'm going to show you that by myself. So he starts to climb this mountain, and he's doing really good in a day that is warm, it's nice, the sun is out. He's doing really good. And he's feeling himself like, yeah, told you I don't need nobody, stupid sponsor, I don't need no higher power, I don't need, you know. So he's climbing this mountain, right? And then it gets dark. The sun goes away, it gets dark. In this process, it's going to get dark sometimes, and then it gets cold at night. It gets real cold sometimes. And so he's climbing the mountain, and all of a sudden it's cold and it's dark, and he goes to move, and his wire breaks. And he's plunging, but to his intelligence, he made his own safety thing where now, boom, like he stopped. So he made it so he's in midair, it's cold and it's dark, And now it's getting cold, his legs are getting numb, his face is getting numb, his hands are getting numb, he can't do nothing, he's hanging there. And so here's what he says, is there anyone out there? Hello, can anyone hear me? Is there anyone out there? Help me. And here's his voice, cut the rope. Is there anyone else out there? Can anyone please help me? Right? He said, so he hears his voice, cut the rope. So he looks at his knife, he looks at the rope. He says, hello, is anyone out there? Can anyone help me? The news reporters come the next day, and they go to the top of the mountain, and they don't find him. And so what happens? So they go to the bottom of the mountain. When they get to the bottom of the mountain, they find a man frozen to death 3 feet from the ground. If he would have cut the rope, he would have been around. But he didn't trust. He didn't have faith. He didn't need nobody. He wanted to prove he could do it by himself. Please don't let that be you. I'm not. My name is Raymond. Thanks for letting me share.